let's move on now, finally, to the implementation of stricter rules around benefits. Now, these changes over the last 2 decades have increased UK employment. But is all of that extra employment being put to proper use? Not according to the Institute for Fiscal Studies, who say that changes to the benefit system have only pushed people into low-paid, part-time and dead-end jobs. Well, I'm delighted to be joined now by Tom Waters, Senior Research Economist at the Institute for Fiscal Studies. And Tom, first of all, in a nutshell, what is the issue with people going from benefits into low-paid work?
Yeah, I certainly don't think there's kind of an issue with that per se. I suppose the question is does it end there? And so successive governments, the new Labour government as well as Conservative government since 2010 has made quite a big deal of trying to encourage out-of-work benefit recipients into work. But the focus has very much been on that in, out of work binary. And what we find is that although a lot of these reforms have been successful at pushing people into work, it's generally been into part-time, quite low-paid work, and not the kind of work which is, the first step on a ladder of career progression. Instead, it seems to be people kind of stagnate there. And so that's what we're drawing attention to in this research. And certainly the policymakers should think about whether there's things that can be done which encourage more of that career progression and more into things like full-time work.
Looking at the sort of state of the United Kingdom economy, walking down sort of any road in any major city in this country, you'll see restaurants and shops asking for extra staff. It's clear that there is a bit of a gap in that perhaps more low-paid side of the economy. Of course, we've had a lot of migration this year, but mainly that's been into the higher-paid jobs. We've got a points-based system that brings in people with skills. Is it not necessary that we have, for want of a better word, native Brits getting off benefits and into some of those low-paid jobs that might well have been filled by migrants back when we had free movement with the European Union?
Yes, certainly, these jobs are necessary. We do need people to work in these sorts of industries, these sorts of roles. I think the question is when we're thinking about the benefit system, are we thinking about it kind of purely as something to protect people against real destitution, they're out of work, no other income, and they need to have some money just to have kind of any living standards? Or is it something where we should be thinking about, are there ways that we can encourage or enable people to reach higher levels of skills and achieve better jobs, contribute more to the economy in that way and receive more in income for themselves. So I think that's kind of the key question. You're certainly right that being in work is often a good thing for the people involved and contributes towards the wider economy. But that in out of work binary isn't the only thing that really matters.
And in just our last 20 seconds, what would you say the government needs to do here in terms of to change around this situation?
If the government does want to do this, I think the key thing is to look at the disincentive to work full-time. So if you're on benefits in part-time work at the moment and you choose to move full-time, you lose a huge amount of your earnings in lower benefits and higher taxes. And so if the government does want to address this and encourage career progression, which is best encouraged through full-time work, they need to look at that financial disincentive.